Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the 45th episode. My name's Ryan Blake. I'm the founder and director of Extreme Sports Performance, as well as the host of this show. In this episode, we're talking to Brett Hodgkins. Brett is a professional wakeboarder, international coach, and founder of One Love Academy in Antigua. We discuss his long history in the sport, what coaching means to him, how it's applied, what wakeboarders do well and not so well, what it takes to be a world-class rider, where he sees the sport going in the future, and much, much more. I really enjoyed recording this episode with Brett. I hope you enjoy listening to it. Here we go. Brett, welcome to the Extreme Sports Performance Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Please can you start by letting everyone know who you are and what you do?
Hi Ryan, thank you for having me. My name is Brett Hodgkins-Jarvis. I am a professional wakeboarder, been in the sport for a long time, international coach, wakeboarding, and also owner and creator of One Love Academy out in Antigua.
Awesome, thanks for that intro. Could you start by kind of giving us a brief, for those who don't know, because I'm sure a lot of people listening do know who you are, some might not, a brief overview of your career as an athlete and also as a coach?
Yeah, so on the athlete side of things, Ryan, I've been in wakeboarding I was working it out the other day, for like over 40 years. It goes back a little bit further than that when the first like directional boards came out. But I was actually injured at the time. So achievements from wakeboarding, from my side, is 2003 bronze medalist at the Wakeboard World Championships out in Australia, which was pretty cool. I got to share a podium with Andy Bainberg, who's one of the Swiss riders who's absolutely awesome. Got a silver medal in open men at one of the wakeboard tour stops, which was a UK tour stop when we used to have those, and you'll remember those, mate. And then New South Wales state titles over in Australia, and done quite a bit of riding over there actually. And done quite a bit of stuff, and then had some involvement with a festival that you and I both know very well called Wakestock from Farrell O'Shea, bless his heart. And that was a big festival that we had combined with a wakeboard tournament to progress the sport, push the sport. So from there on in, I was basically involved in the boat driving, a little bit of help and input with the organizational work, and also rode in it, as you did, mate. And then from the coaching standpoint, years ago, I used to run Thorpe Park when we had wakeboarding there, Prince's Club when wakeboarding was there and prevalent, off Axis up in Wales that was based right by Wakestock, and then moved on to create One Love Academy, which is out in Antigua in the Caribbean, which is quite a nice place to go. And then been British team captain a couple of times as well.
Wow, so you've had quite a busy and diverse journey in the sport over a long period of time. And what would you say have been like your highest points of that journey, and what would you also say have been like the lowest points of that journey that come to mind?
Starting with the lows, because it's always good to go from low to high, right?
Sure.
So the lowest points within wakeboarding for me was blowing out my knee, which then proceeded to get infected. I pretty much took out 3 of the 4 major ligaments, 2 major surgeries with that reconstruction. I actually dislocated it, and then when it got infected, it was to the point where they were quite worried and concerned that that was going to go and track up into major organs, which would have then kind of been a bit of writing on the wall as regards your health and possibly, death, which isn't a great thing, or an amputation. So that wasn't really a great place to be. And then obviously going on from there, more and more surgeries. I think I was working out probably about 6 or 7 in the end. But everybody's got a story like that, mate. And, it's not a sport for the faint-hearted. It's an extreme sport. It's a difficult sport. And the stronger you can be, the better you're going to be at this. On the flip side of that, bro, is on the highs, like I was saying, I think one of my best was that was the Worlds in 2003, where I did get to share the podium with Andy, and we had a great format there. Was an easy competition, and then from the Worlds, then it's kind of going on to setting up my own place in Antigua, and also having lifelong friends through the sport, and traveling the world, and people you meet who are just super cool, and that kind of it just transcends everything. It just cancels out all the bad stuff, man. And one of the other highlights was Megafest event in Sweden, which was one of the best events that I've ever been to, and I think you might have been there as well.
Yes, I do remember that was one of the best wakeboard. Well, it wasn't just wakeboarding, was it? It was one of the best extreme sports festivals and music festivals I've ever been to. So yeah, I would agree with you. Brilliant event.
Really cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing those. I mean, obviously, this is how we met 28 years ago when I was just learning and starting out. I remember coming to a coaching clinic with you, so it's definitely one of my highs and best memories from the sport. And so you've mentioned that you do a lot, as well as doing a lot of riding, you do a lot of coaching, and you've set up One Love Academy in Antigua. How would you define coaching for wakeboarding? Because it's a term that I think can be used a little bit loosely sometimes by people. I'm just interested of knowing how would you define it? What does that mean to you?
This when you sent me this, it was an interesting question because it made me think about stuff. The definition of coaching wakeboarding for me is it's a really broad spectrum, right? So once you have the fundamentals and the basics of wakeboarding down, which is obviously stance, line load, positioning, moving on to pop, air time, air awareness, it really transcends a massive spectrum. So you could have somebody who is a big guy who's like 220 pounds, or you could have a girl who's 8 years old and 60 pounds. So with the coaching side of things, you as a coach, you have to adapt your style to suit the rider. So it's not just one thing, which is it's such a big spectrum of stuff, right? And what I like to do is I like to find out what kind of rider they are. So it could be a very aggressive rider, could be a very passive rider. So for the aggressive rider, on the bigger side of the scale, you'd want to be doing more Rayleigh-based tricks, right? You'd want to be doing probably big floaty rolls and stuff like that. For the more passive rider, then you would be looking at doing possibly more techie tricks, more spins, maybe they'll hang in the air for longer. So
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It's really trying to adapt what you utilize as a coach and your tools to help the rider achieve their goals by finding out which is the best path for those guys to follow and things that come to them easy, right? So, and then you've got it on the other side of things where I can run off the beach in Antigua and you can just be getting up on the board. That's your entry level. So you could just be getting up on the board. You can go out, doubles behind the boat, and you can have so much fun with it. And that's such a wicked thing with wakeboarding, because it can be as intense as you want it, or it can be as cruisy and cool as you want it. And I had people over there, a couple who were in the 60s, and they were smiling at each other behind the boat, riding doubles, giving high fives, and it's golden, and always have fun with it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. It's a really, really cool insight, and it makes lots of sense. It's the same approach we would take when working with an athlete from more of a sports science and strength and conditioning perspective, is prescribing them like an individualized program rather than a general program. It has to be right for them for it to be most effective.
Exactly.
So this next question is kind of double. There's two parts to it. So, and I guess I wanted to frame it more at like a more advanced level of rider. And okay, what things do you see athletes, wakeboarding athletes, do well? And conversely, what do you also see them not do well?
Yeah, another good question, mate, that have me thinking. So I had to really think about where we were in within the sport and where we were region wise as well. So I broke it down to different categories. So starting in the UK, we have so many talented riders who are very, very good and have so much longevity in the sport. There's such a large percentage of these guys who don't warm up, they don't cool down, they don't really get to the strength and conditioning training. They just kind of put the board on and go. And I saw this at the tournaments, and I've seen it over and over the years. And also, they don't do visualization techniques, not really so tuned into it. Compared to, you then move into Europe, okay? So then you have people who will, and countries who will have more funding. So these guys probably got better funded teams. They have more support with all their strength and conditioning work and flexibility stuff. And they just seem way, way more in tune to what's going on. So say the Italians, maybe some of the Dutch guys and stuff like that. They just seem like they're way more in tune with what's going on, but a lot of that is funding as well. And then you move over to my love lies in Australia, right? So I've always loved the Aussie wakeboarders. They've got such a go for it attitude. Their mental strength is awesome. And also they're strong. They're all strong guys and girls, you know, and they go for it. And these guys, the Australians and the Americans, are kind of top of the tree, which makes them good wakeboarders. And, you know, obviously there's going to be bad ones as well who don't follow kind of protocols. But that's kind of where I saw it going like that, you know. That was it. I had to divide it up into sections because it's a tough question.
Got it. It's interesting because we work with lots of different sports, mainly adventure and endurance sports, but we also work a lot with conventional sports teams as well. And every day we'll see someone do something really well, and either in the same team or the same sport or the same environment, we'll all conversely see someone do something almost the opposite, not so well. And it just always makes me laugh because it could so simply be changed.
Yeah,
and that's why our kind of main philosophy is that paradigm between coaching, education, and support. Those three things are so important to any athlete. And what you'll find, or what we find, I don't know if you agree with this, but like someone always needs one of those more than the others.
Right.
But probably the one they need, say it's coaching, they'll still need some education and support, but in probably like a lower volume or lower intensity. But again, as we coming back to the point you mentioned earlier, everyone's different, so you can't really guess what it is. Just have to wait to see and then work on those particular areas that people need to improve. So thanks for sharing that. That's really interesting. So you've already kind of alluded to this, but I'm sure the listeners will be really interested to know, like, what does it take someone to be like world-class level at wakeboarding, in your opinion?
Again, it goes back to support, right? Which is, this sport's expensive now, Ryan. Boat wakeboarding is way expensive, no doubt. The boats, the equipment, ride sets, everything it's not cheap anymore. Take it to a club level. Okay, you can have your own boat and get pulled around, get your water time. But then at some point, you're going to have to step it up, move up. So again, funding from family, that support, total commitment, and making sure that you are tough within the sport. There has to be a combination of everything: your flexibility, your nutrition, your strength and conditioning, as you well know, and you cannot be a pussy.
Yeah.
You're going to take some heavy falls, you're going to take some really hard knocks, and you have to be mentally tough, and you have to be physically tough to enable you to take these kind of impacts and falls and injuries and be able to bounce back from them. You know, so if you want to make it to a world-class wakeboarder and be a world-class athlete in this sport, you need all of those combined, buddy. That's the way I see it. You know, you have to be tough, have your finesse, and just and be gracious as well, hey? And you know, be cool with people, because you'll get it back.
Absolutely. It's changed so much over the last 30, 20, 10 years. Like every time I kind of see people do stuff, and I just think that wouldn't have been possible 10 years ago. That definitely wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago. It's just like, I mean, we'll come on to this later on, but like the sport's changed so much. And I guess if you don't keep up with that in terms of your preparation and how you look after yourself and how you manage yourself, you're not going to keep up with it. So this is a nice segue actually to the next question. So like, you've seen lots of change in your career. Like, what do you see changing? Like, where do you see the sport going in the next 5, 10 plus years?
Again, another good question, because I'm usually, you know, a couple of weeks to 6 months ahead before I book the flight to go back to Antigua. So I was like, yeah, nice question. the way I see it, mate, is that over the past 5 years, we've had a massive slope that's gone up with the equipment, with the boats, and everything has really, as well as getting super expensive, got super techy, but the wakes have been jacked. They've got bigger and bigger and bigger. The equipment's got better. You're getting more and more pop, you're getting more angle. So the tricks are getting bigger and bigger. I believe over the next 5 to 10 years plus that it will continue like that, but it's going to get to a point where it's going to plateau. So the boat wakes are going to get big enough to a point. I believe that the tricks themselves and wakeboarding itself will, if somebody's going to go for 4 flips, it may be possible, but I believe that the tricks themselves will start to plateau to a point. But what you'll see is...
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Triple flip combinations, you'll see more 1260s and 1440s, which is a lot of spins, right? I believe it's going to go kind of that way. And once it plateaus, things will start getting more and more technical with everything. What I'd like to see is a different format introduced. So if you remember, Ryan, and you were there when we used to be at the Keys and stuff, we used to run the nationals with rails within the format and kickers. So you would do your run and you'd hit the rail, then you'd hit the kicker. And I thought that was good because from a perspective of somebody watching on the bank, to evolve the sport and make it more spectator friendly, they've got something to focus on. So I would like it to see crossover boards, having this different format reintroduced, you know, which was fun, right? It was a really cool format to have rather than just somebody watching and not quite understand what's going on. Yeah. And I would also like us to kind of revert back to the old wake stock days where we're taking the sport to an event site. If we can do that and we can take the sport to an event site, then we've already got critical mass of a crowd to help keep promoting it.
Yeah.
You check?
That's really cool insight. Thanks for sharing that. And I completely agree. Like, it's actually really difficult sometimes for people to see as well if they're spectating. Like, especially in the boats down the other end of the water, it's harder to see. So, like, having that cross format makes lots of sense, and it is much more enjoyable. And it brings a new kind of dimension back into the sport. That's kind of almost bringing a little bit of cable wakeboarding into boat wakeboarding.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yeah. Awesome. So just for the listeners, they may not know, in terms of like flips, my memory is not probably quite as good as yours on this. So I'm thinking, I could be wrong here, but the first double flip, was that Darren Shapiro?
I know Darren used to do the speedboard, didn't he? The first double front. But I believe Parks did his first half cab. I'm sure if it was Darren or Parks, but it was a long time ago, eh?
Yeah, so what kind of time was that? Like kind of early 2000s or like?
You know what? You're pretty much on the money because Parks came to the Worlds in Australia and he was there riding and he actually tried his double half cab off the double up in the event. So yeah, it was, and that's 2003.
And recently a triple's just been landed, hasn't it? The last year or so.
Thomas Herman.
So what's the gap there? Probably 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
I reckon that gap will be shorter if someone's going to be brave enough to try a quadruple. Probably, what do you reckon, in the next 5?
I reckon someone will go. Someone's got to try it.
Yeah, yeah. And just for the listeners so they understand, could you just quickly explain what a double up is for those who might not know? And why these double trips and triple flips are being tried off the double up?
So a double up is where the boat takes one route straight down, whichever you're in, an ocean or lake, one route straight down, makes a turn to the right or the left. And then I like to call it a bit of a D turn. So it'll turn to a 90 degrees, and then the boat will turn to another 90 and then come back over its own wake. And the boat wakes converse to create 3 to 4, conversion of wakes that get progressively steeper. So you take the first one, it's quite mellow. The second one is pretty big. The third one's usually the biggest. And as the wakes converge, you have to time it right so you're hanging on the inside of the turn and you're edging down the channel. And as you hit that double up where the wakes converge, you get double the amount of pop. So you better be prepared.
And it's just almost like a rocket boost, isn't it? You get shot right up, like more aggressively than you would do on a single wake on the boat.
Exactly so.
That's why most people tend to try these tricks that require more time in the air off the double up, right? Because they get sent basically, and more
you get boosted.
Yeah,
but if you get it wrong, then you're in danger of coming down on top of the second wake, which is exactly what I did with my knee.
Okay.
Yeah, that's called casing the wake. So you better make sure that you actually have enough travel time to get over and land on the transition, and the transition is landing on the downside. So yes, 100%, mate.
Wicked. So I've got a couple more questions to ask, and then I'm gonna let you go, because I know this is your rest day. What would you say your top piece of advice is to anyone that would make them a better wakeboarder if they start implementing that tomorrow?
Stay fit. Make sure that it doesn't matter if you're an entry-level rider or a professional rider. Stay on top of your game, stay fit, stay happy. And if you're learning new tricks, don't overdo it. Don't make yourself frustrated. Do 4 to 8 attempts learning these new tricks and then move on to the next. Keep it fresh. Keep your strength and conditioning going. Keep your flexibility going. And mate, keep it fun. Just keep it as fun as possible. You know, the more fun that you're having with it, then you're always going to be better. And a buddy of mine said to me, it's not the guy who looks the best out there, it's the guy who's having the most fun. Another tip that is very, very good, and we haven't touched on this, but also to make you a better rider, you need a very good driver. So whenever I'm coaching, the driving is critical, because I don't want anyone, it's injury prevention. I don't want anyone getting hurt trying new stuff. I want them to come off the water with a positive attitude and want to pursue their goals. So it's very important for the driver to know about dumping, where you come off the speed, making a C-turn, where the rider's coming in from the opposite side and they're coming in and they're losing line tension while they're trying the new trick, and knowing when to back off the gas. If you've got somebody who's just hammered down the whole time, not really paying attention, turning the opposite way to somebody trying a new trick, they're going to get all stretched and tweaked out and they're going to get hurt. You know, the driving is ultra important. So incorporate that into your routine with everything else. Make sure you've got good drivers, good people in the boat, you know, and make sure everyone's having a good time, I guess.
Fun is important. I think we forget that sometimes, don't you? When we get too wrapped up in stuff, especially for me, it was with competitions. I just used to get so stressed out about them. The fun disappeared.
Yes, you did. I remember.
Yeah, it was only after that I used to just like the fun. The comps were no longer that appealing, but it's getting more. It's what, sorry?
That's why we went to Sweden.
Yeah, well, I mean if you could define fun, that would be a pretty good definition.
Yeah, and that was we if you remember right, we took wakeboarding to the event site there, right? There was a massive stage set up. It was, the people were right on the side of the wharf. As we turn around to do the double up, you could hear the people shouting and screaming, and it was awesome.
Yeah, there were thousands of people there, and music blasting from like the live band going on at the same time. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was definitely fun. Yeah, good memory of that. Very cool. And thanks for inviting me. So we've obviously been doing a lot of work on strength and conditioning over the last few months. You've been following one of our wakeboarding programs. For those people listening who wakeboard and don't do any fitness work, and they're interested in maybe getting started, like, how would you say that it has helped you doing this stuff, and how could it potentially help them if they're considering it?
My training routine over the past few years has been so disjointed. I always go to the gym, I always train, I always stretch. But I was probably training within the wrong parameters, I think. Lots of lifting, lots of heavy weights and pushing hard, and not realizing that I wasn't actually strong enough in different awkward positions, let's say. So with the mobility work you've given me, I felt quite weak. When I first started, I felt weak, especially after, a couple of surgeries and recovering from those.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And then over time, it's just got better and better and better. And it came to fruition when I actually got on the board, buddy. When I actually got on the board again, everything felt lighter for me. Everything felt quite a lot easier. And yeah, I felt better, all in all. Anyone out there who's interested in doing it, and advice to get into it, and they're not actually, and this isn't a promotion, it's from the heart. So, anyone who wants to do it, you got to go ahead, because you've only got a certain amount of longevity in this sport, and the better that you can prepare yourself for heavy knocks and falls and injuries, then the better you're going to be, right?
Yeah. Sweet. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's really cool to hear, and it's a pleasure to be able to help you out with that. If anyone is listening and they're keen, please get in touch. All our contact details will be in the show notes. Just drop us a message, and we'll be able to help you out. So, some quick fire questions that you don't know are coming.
Oh, great!
And I always ask people this, and it always catches them out. Okay, but yes. Pretty cool questions. There's only 4 of them. So, okay. Who's your favourite rider of all time?
Oh. So, I'd probably say Dean Smith, Aussie rider, who's mate, and he's just fearless. Goes big, lands in the flats. Yeah, he's a machine, and he's still riding, and he's a real good lad. Female, and funnily enough, it's going back a little bit as well, which is his wife, and that's Amber Wing. So she's from the Wing family, Wing wetsuits and stuff like that. Currently, I would say definitely Zara Cal, the Australian young lady who's just killing it.
She rips.
She does rip. And Corey Tunison, sorry if I get his name wrong, but he is, yeah. So yeah, I'm always leaning towards the Aussie guys.
Yeah. Cool. We'll put their social media handles in the show notes below for anyone who wants to check them out. There is some wicked videos of some of the stuff they're doing, which is nuts. So yeah, check those out. Okay, there are 3 more questions. So, favorite trick for you to do on a board, behind the water, on a boat?
Switch mode, 100%. I don't even know how to think about that, but I still need to perfect him.
Nice.
I haven't had it for a long time, but switch mode, crazy, good feeling trick.
Favorite trick for you to watch someone do? Guess it depends on the rider, mate.
It does depend on the rider because it can span from one to the other. So I would say we've got a couple of really good young riders out here in Britain at the moment. And one of them is Marley O'Toole. And Marley, he's just landed the Whirly 5. So Whirly 5 is just a sick looking trick. So Whirly 5. And also Dan Knott, when he does his Whirly 5, that's pretty sick.
Awesome. And a final question, I promise this is the last one, and I think I know what the answer is going to be here. But where's your favourite place to ride of all time?
Depends what you're doing.
Okay.
So I'm currently at Penty with my buddy Ed, and I love it here. It's great. He's got a 6 setup, great boat. We're going to do some One Love Academy School of Excellence stuff here. Training wise, yes, it's great. Free riding, Antigua, 100% Antigua. Love being out there. You can see the bottom. It's great. You can go to the beach, hang out, take some rum if you want, but only after you've ridden. Favorite competition? Wake stock.
I would agree. Some happy memories there.
Yeah.
And God bless Faz.
God bless Faz. Yeah. Farrell passed away. You guys don't know, Farrell passed away about a month or so ago. But yeah, the creator of Wake Stock and our sponsor, and yeah, just an all-round good guy. So yeah.
I've got 2 really cool memories of him. I hope people don't mind me sharing. But the first time I ever went to Wake Stock, I managed to win, and he presented me with my trophy on the stage just before Reef, one of my favourite bands, were about to play. And I'll always remember that. He just had a big grin and gave me a massive hug and just said, I hope you've enjoyed everything and well done. But that was really cool. And the second memory was I actually hit a kicker a couple of years after at another Wake Stock event, and a nail went through my board, and I basically ripped it open and I flew out the bindings. And the Fats came over straight away and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry, just give me that. I'm going to sort it out. And like within a couple of hours, he like called me up and he's like, where are you? And he dropped my board back and he'd fixed it for me. He didn't need to do that, but like he was like really wanted to make sure he had. So I thought that was really cool.
But that comes back to being humble, having friends, and the love of the sport, and lifelong friends, right? People who you meet along this journey, and you know, it's golden, right? Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful things involved in the sport, and they've been up and down over the years, but like that friendship is probably the key thing for me, which is why I love it so much. I've got
a question for you, Ryan.
Go
on. When are you going to come and ride with me? And when are you going to have a little go at competing again, please?
So this is, again, the highs and lows of having a 1-year-old running around your feet and not enough time to do 3 different jobs. The answer is going to be as soon as possible, mate. I'm hoping it's going to be in the next few weeks. Maybe I'm going to try and come down to Chichester and have a rip around there. Compete, I have to get back to you. I don't know. I don't necessarily have a big desire to do that. I much more enjoy just like riding with people I love and having fun. If I happen to fall into a comp, I happen to fall into a comp, but it's not on my diary yet.
All right. Well, we're thinking about doing something like a grassroots where it becomes easy for people to get involved with, right? And at Chichester, we've got a lot of kids who have come through from a school across the road, learning how to water ski, learning how to wakeboard. They've got 100% success rate there. And it's just kind of proven that, you know, it's such an easy sport to get into. It's staying in it, which is the hard thing because it's expensive, and I would love to see probably some more lower level competitions about, so we can encourage people who are a little bit scared of competing in the high level competitions, get them into it. We've got to keep growing the sport. It's such a good sport.
Absolutely. So just to finish up, what are your plans for the rest of the year? Like, what are you going to be up to? Where are you going to be? People wanted to hook up with you and ride and coach.
Yeah, so through the end of the season, I'm going over. I'll be doing a little bit of work over at Chichester. Usually there once a month, running coaching days. I'm actually going to go over to another club called YML, which is an old club, and do a couple of days over there. Planning to actually possibly do a little bit of water skiing as well, put the skis back on and kind of cross over and jump on that side of things. Keep the coaching days going, keep the vibe alive, and then come the end of September, I'll be heading back over to Antigua, getting set up over there, and get the boat out of storage and start on that side of things, and do exactly the same as what I'm doing here, and run my winter over there with the clinics and locals, yacht crews, and all kinds of people over there. And just getting into the love of the sport, and then pack everything up and come back over here again and keep doing it.
Awesome. So if people wanted to get in touch with you to find out more information about your whereabouts and possibly booking a coaching day with you, what's the best way for them to do that? Emailing
me at One Love Academy. Cool. Or come through the website One Love Academy. Super easy, and then they can find me. I'm not really too difficult to find, or drop me an Instagram or WhatsApp or something. All good.
So for everyone listening, I'll put those links and handles into the show notes. If you do want to get in touch with Brett, then just click directly and you get in touch with him. But Brett, thank you so much for your time today, mate. It's great to catch up, and thanks for coming on the show. I hope you have a nice rest of your rest day, and the rest of the summer and the rest of the year goes well for you with everything you're doing.
Thanks, mate. Wicked.
Thanks for listening to the 45th episode. We hope you enjoyed the show. It would really help us out if you could please leave a rating and or review on whatever platform you're listening on. Is there someone you know who would benefit from hearing what you've just heard? Then share the love by sending them a link. Be sure to check out our website, extremesportsperformance.com, that has details about how to stay updated to receive our bi-weekly blog and monthly update emails, our free education resources, our training programs and nutrition plans, our coaching packages, our professional performance services, our online apparel store, and how to get in touch if you have any questions. Join our growing community on LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, TikTok, X and YouTube. Links to these can be found at the bottom of all of our web pages and via any search engine. Until next time, release those limits and go well.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.